All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, Dennis DeYoung has been chatting it up with radio station WBAB as he spoke recently to Joe Rock about the possibility of a Styx reunion. Asked if he was still hoping for a reunion, Dennis says, I've been riding that bandwagon for the last 5 or 6 years, but to no avail. Really, the people that are vested. Now, get this, the promoters around the country have this past year gone through back channels to see if there was interest. Now, the promoters are really excited about this because this would be something easy to promote. People would show up. They wouldn't have to do a lot of advertising. All they would have to say is Dennis DeYoung rejoins Styx or Styx reunion with Dennis, Tommy, and JY. And I think the fans would be buying lots and lots of tickets. But Styx is relying on their amazing new album, which will be dropping shortly. After that first song that came out, I don't know. I don't think people are all that excited, but maybe they are. By the way, interesting, I have heard the entire Volume 2, 26 East Volume 2 by Dennis DeYoung, and I can assure the fans that it is amazing and you're going to love it. If you liked Volume 1, you will like Volume 2. It is a start to finish tour de force album with, of course, some very old Styx moments, some Dennis moments from the Styx Prime days, and a few surprises in there. I think people will be very pleased with it. So, getting back to the idea of a reunion, he goes on. He says, because everybody, meaning every Styx fan, would like to see our band one more time. And one person spoke, and it was Tommy Shaw. Now, he's saying Tommy Shaw spoke to the promoters who were trying to get this to go forward, and Tommy said no. He said no. Anyway, Dennis goes on to say, I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. Dennis says, we owe the fans who made us what we are today, rich and successful human beings, just one more opportunity to be Mo, Larry, and Curly and Shemp when he's available, referring to the Three Stooges, like they had to tell us. Of course, there's a whole generation of people probably who don't know who the Three Stooges are. Dennis goes on to say, it's not in my hands. I have no axe to grind. I have no hatchets to bury. Basically, Dennis probably called up one of his promoter buddies and said, look, you guys, maybe you guys can make this happen. They're not talking to me. And every time they open their mouths, they're saying something about me that's not necessarily true. 3 years ago, of course, Shaw was doing the big interview with Dan Rather, and he was talking about getting a divorce. Shaw said, you get married when you're young and everything's rosy. Well, in the case of Dennis DeYoung, who's been married to the same woman for like 50-something years, maybe the analogy is lost on Dennis, because Dennis, one thing he's really faithful to his friends and to his bandmates, and maybe he's a little bit difficult to work with. I don't know. That would be a question I would ask Dennis DeYoung. If he were to be on this little YouTube channel with me, I would say, hey, Dennis, so why does Tommy not like you? Are you a dictator? Are you hard to deal with? A lot of interviewers just, and this guy here, Joe Rock or whatever, he missed the boat. He should have said, so what's going on between you and Tommy? You know, obviously the article here has to give Tommy's side of the story. They can't just let this be about Dennis telling a radio station that Tommy Shaw does not want to do a reunion, because that would be too truthful and too basic. You always have to present the other side. You don't have to present the other side in this case, because This is supposed to be about an interview that Dennis did with a radio station. So, yeah, I'm nitpicking, but the way the world is today, I'm getting less and less patient with people who can't ask good questions. Shaw went on to say that personality wise, whatever that means, at this stage in my life, I want to be happy. What does that even mean? Your personality is yours. Are you saying that you only want to be around people that you agree with, or that you have a great time with? Dennis DeYoung isn't asking you to go over and hang out with him at a barbecue. All right. He's asking to do this because the fans want it. And I'll continue to advocate for a reunion. I don't think it's quite lost yet, but maybe the dollar signs weren't enough for Tommy Shaw. Maybe they weren't enough. I think JY would cave because JY just goes wherever. I mean, if you remember when Tommy left, right? JY did show up for that little 1990 reunion thing, with Glenn Burtnick. And yeah, he was there for that. And I saw him, on what Regis or whatever they were on. I remember it's on YouTube. I think you can look it up. And he's there with bells on, hey, here I am. He needed to work, right? And that was the whole thing. I mean, did he have a lot of offers to join other bands, JY? Don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he did have a great opportunity and he just passed it up knowing that maybe Styx would get back together again. And they did. The Return to Paradise tour. And it was amazingly successful. And the fans loved it. Now, you could do that again, and it would be even bigger than it was back in the 1990s, especially if you say farewell tour. Or now with Styx, they would continue on without Dennis afterwards. And Dennis is fine with that. But this could be one last tour with Dennis DeYoung. I'm sure the promoters could figure this out, and maybe it just wasn't enough money, or maybe Dennis is so maniacal, maybe he's just such a tyrant, such a dictator, that it just can never be. But we'll never know until somebody asks that particular question. Like, so what is it about Dennis, personality-wise, that you have difficulties with? Just ask the question. If Dennis shows up here to do an interview, and who knows, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But if he does, I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to say, hey, Dennis, why, let's be truthful here. What's up with Tommy? Why doesn't he like you? Was there something that occurred, a specific instance, or it's just this general sort of personality clash? And then we'll just leave it there. And I'm sure Dennis might say, I don't know. I think that's the proper answer to give. That's the diplomatic answer. But, I want it on record. I want it out there as to what it is. And until somebody can ask the question, then we'll never know the real story behind this. So in any event, Tommy Shaw says, no, that's it. Done. My video's done. Don't forget to be a patron. Don't forget to be a subscriber, and I will see you soon.